Hello everyone, welcome to Teamplay. Bind is back in the ranked map pool and pro teams are starting to pick it in Valorant Champions Tour as well. Not only the map has changed in the past, but also the agents you can play on it. Harbor and Gekko are making their debuts on Bind these days, and NRG, currently ranked 4th in VCT Americas and led by IGL-star FiNESSE, at least choose Harbor to be part of their lineup. Let's learn from them how to take the double controller setup on Bind to the next level. Since week 5, Bind has replaced Icebox in the map pool of VCT. There has been a total of 5 matches played across all 3 regions up until the beginning of week 7 of EMEA. In 4 of these cases, the map was straight up picked by one of the teams, and in only 2 of these cases, the map pick resulted in a win. In VCT Pacific, T1 picked Bind against Team Secret, and in VCT America, NRG decided to play Bind vs 100 Thieves. Both of these well-prepared teams chose a similar team composition. The double controller meta on Bind has long been well established, but in addition to Viper, it has always been one of Brimstone's last playgrounds. This might be over now because of Harbor. Alongside Viper, Raze and Sky, he was picked by both T1 and NRG. While the Americans relied on Sage as their 5th agent, the Koreans even went for Gekko, but I'd like to judge this decision another time. Today we want to focus more on the controller's approach of NRG in their match against 100 Thieves. Let's take a look at NRG's defense first. FiNESSE plays Viper and uses a total of 3 different toxic screens. Well, to be fair, he uses 4 different screens, but that is not intended. One of the screens you want to play is very hard to set up and it fails multiple times. But don't you worry, this is the right place to learn how to do it properly. The first setup is pretty common. From lamps, FiNESSE walls of B long and hookah. In pistol round, NRG stacks on A and goes for retake on B with only Sage playing there for info. In buy rounds, FiNESSE uses this toxic screen when he is about to play on A together with Raze. Viper and Raze are pretty good at delaying spike plans on A, which is why they can play on this side alone. The second screen FiNESSE at least tries to use multiple times is new due to the TP's location and A long switching positions. From the box under hookah, it walls off hookah itself, B long and even A long pretty aggressively. This way it denies information about showers early on if the attacking team is not rushing there. Here is the exact spot you have to aim on. Jump when casting it to extend your screen that tiny bit to cover showers almost entirely. When FiNESSE is going for this toxic screen, Crashies on Sky is usually with him on B to check B long with his guiding light. And Victor on Raze is the one to fast rotate in case of contact. Notice how Zom and Ardis immediately take control over showers with a cascade and Sage's barrier. This way Harbor gets his ultimate online. To further delay potential A hits later on, Zom uses his high tide from lamps to cut off A short and showers simultaneously. In one anti-eco, FiNESSE goes for a more aggressive wall from B long through hookah. Together with Crashies and one Sky Flash, he goes for a surprising push towards market that ends in a favorable trade for NRG, but it is close to getting punished. I would recommend a risky play like that rather in your own eco round to compensate for a weapon disadvantage. Instead, when having no money, FiNESSE calls a contact push in A short in round 8. Raze, Sage and Harbor get to market for free and have an insanely good timing on the attackers in B short. The toxic screen from 100 Thieves might have helped them here because it cuts the attacker's vision to A short cubby early on completely when being active. To see the slight difference in NRG's approach on attack, stay tuned. The last dev round I want to highlight is round 7, when FiNESSE uses his Viper's pit in showers. Here is the spot you can do that from and the spot to aim on. To stop any fast pushes to hookah or A short, Zom uses his high tide to cut off both from the get-go. 100 Thieves have to invest a Sky ult and are forced to heavy hit A short. They win the round only because FiNESSE loses his 1v1 versus Stella. On attack, the only toxic screen FiNESSE uses is this one from A short to lamps. It cuts off the line of sight from A side and enables flash plays with Sky's guiding light. Together with this poison cloud, you can play pretty sneaky in A short. But the wall also opens opportunity to hard push there, as you can see in the pistol round. When Victor on Raze has control over lamps, Zom follows up with a high tide to cut A side in half. NRG only loses the engagement because Asuna takes out 2 with his frenzy and Stella is fearless enough to hold A short from a close angle. Ardis and Zom pull off a late 2v4 on B though, which makes round 14 an anti-eco. Here you can witness the strength of FiNESSE wall, which leaves a gap to spot players through. He positions himself slightly behind it to bait an A short push by opening the screen and shutting it down again as soon as possible. Derek falls for the trick and Zom is able to trade FiNESSE against Stella. Later in that round you see a nice high tide from Zom to cut off Hooker and CT when pushing B side from long. Round 15 begins with a short cascade in Fountain to not get detected by a potential sky flash. Though NRG gets spotted by Stella and held off by his Poison Cloud at first, they try to push B nonetheless by investing a Trailblazer, the high tide to cut off Elbow and CT, and both Snake Bites to topside, backside would have been better, and Cubby. Here are the lineups FiNESSE uses from Fountain. In the next round, 100 Thieves go for a market crunch, while NRG pressure showers with a Sky Flash and a Race Edge. The cascade to block the door to A side makes me assume they initially planned to play it slower, but faced with 100 Thieves mid-push, spotted by lurker Ardis, they rush A side earlier with a nice high tide from showers that fully cuts off backside. After winning the first gunfights convincingly, Zom decides to invest his ultimate to plant the spike safely. Last but not least, NRG goes for a nice Viper setup in round 19 with the default Toxic screen and this Poison Cloud in front of Lamps. Here is the lineup right from the spawn barrier. With the second wave of Poison, FiNESSE and Victor follow Crashy's Trailblazer to Lamps, where FiNESSE uses his Viper's Pit to maintain control about that part of A. In the meantime, Harbor, Sage and Sky take control over B and plant the spike for free, which basically wins them the round. The agent composition of NRG allows for even more possible options to go for. For example, in defense, Harbor's Cascade in addition of a Sky Flash could also be used to control B long or even B short aggressively. Here you can see how well this ability matches the map's conditions. Cascade is also a great tool for re-aggressions, because it literally pushes away enemies or isolates them from their teammates. Since Bind has no real mid like Ascent or Split, there is no need to burn default smokes early on to deny info. This is one reason why the map fits the double controller wall setup so well. We haven't talked about Viper's one-way setups yet, which FiNESSE doesn't use at all. Especially showers can be a nuisance for attackers when the Poison Cloud was placed properly. And last but not least, there are some post-plant options when Viper and Raze are in your lineup. For all the amazing snake bites to default spots, watch my Viper on Bind guide. Thank you for watching this episode of Teamplay. If there are other tactics you'd like to discuss in future clips, let me know about that in the comments below. See you next time!